Well, last time out when we went to France, it wasn't such a pretty open. Well, last time out when we went to France, it wasn't such a pretty opening for Karel Abraham. He crashed out on the warm-up lap. He has got his best qualifying of the season, though, so far. Let's jump down to Simon on the grid.
That's exactly why I came to see Karel, because Karel, I'll be honest, you've got some doubters out there, but you have just, I'd like to see the doubters put the Real Aventia on the grid at Mugello in all dry sessions ahead of Jorge Lorenzo and Valentino Rossi. Incredible job.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we, especially after the big crash I had in FP4, it was quite a good performance, and I'm definitely happy with the position on the grid. But this race will be incredibly hard because the temperature raised a lot, the ground temperature is really high. We've never ridden on it this weekend. And yeah, as you mentioned, I've got some really big names behind me that I would love to keep there, but I'm sure they're going to do everything, you know, to get in front as soon as possible.
Thanks, Karel.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, thanks to Karel Abraham, thanks to Simon Crafer. Yeah, he does, of course, feature on that sixth row with Jorge Lorenzo and Valentino Rossi. Here's on the front row, Fabio Quartararo. Well, we saw him mixing with the Formula One stars last weekend in Monaco, the famous street race in Monte Carlo, won by, of course, Petronas Mercedes driver Lewis Hamilton. Can he make it a Petronas victory on two wheels today? And speaking of Formula One, we just saw there on camera talking to Dorna CEO, Ferrari's young gun, Ferrari's rising star, Charles Leclerc. Good to see him sampling a bit of MotoGP.
Yeah, absolutely. From Monaco to Mugello. Wow. Simon's on the grid with Tito Rabat.
Tito, your teammate did an incredible job and you're one row ahead of him. How do you feel going into the race?
Yes, I feel good. This morning we make a very good warm-up. But you know, here every year in the race, temperature go very high and all the setting change. They need to take care about the tires. Sure, a lot of moving during the race. But anyway, I will try to push my 100%, do my 100%, and try to finish the race in the best position as possible.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to Tito Rabat, thanks to Style on the grid. Then here's the man who heads row two, Franco Morbidelli. He starred in qualifying so far this year. He's four top six in five. Andrea Dovizioso then just composing himself, gathering his thoughts ahead of his landmark 300th Grand Prix start. Ninth on the grid, as Steve mentioned, although he felt like in those two qualifying sessions yesterday he had made a bit of a breakthrough.
Jamie Lorente, I have to be completely honest and tell you I've got absolutely no idea who that is, I'm afraid.
Make that two in the comedy box.
Here is a man that we recognise though, Thriller Miller, Jack Miller, fifth on the grid. Not got a great record here at Mugello. He's looking to put that right. A fourth in Argentina, of course, that third in Austin, and then a good solid fourth in France. Another decent performance here, and well, you just never know. There's that battle, of course, going on for the factory Ducati seat next year between Miller and Petrucci that's been raging on now for a good while. Down on the grid, as we see Cal Crutchlow making his way on there. Johan Zarco's been having a bit of a miserable time of it. Two big crashes. Simon's down there with the team.
I am, because I'm proud to say I'm with a hero of mine, 125, 250, then world champion, 500 also world champion, then went to US, won against the Americans second year in Supercross 250 championship, 500 in the same year as well, John Michel Bale, the legend of. John, you're helping out Johan Zarco, just started recently. Can you tell us what you're doing for him?
Yeah, you know, Johan is going through a difficult, difficult moment, but he's got a new bike, a new team. So he's got a lot of change in his career, and I try just to help him to go through this moment as best as possible.
Good luck with that.
Thank you.
Jean-Michel Bale then, good to hear from him, of course. What a legend he is. As we look there at Pecco Bagnaia, a season best 8th place on the grid for Pecco Bagnaia, who led, of course, the field entirely after Friday's 2 free practice sessions. They're in their full Lamborghini colours as well. Pontevecchio over in Firenze, Florence, just down the road here from Mugello. Of course, it's a big day here today also for a man who's trying to get himself back into the championship hunt. It was a disaster in France for Alex Rins. It wasn't so good yesterday. He's 13th on the grid. Simon's on the grid now with Davide Brivio.
Davide, I'm really curious to hear what you think Alex can do today from where he is on the grid.
Yeah, today it's a pity to be in this position because we feel we have a good pace for the race. So there is a possibility to recover. I don't know how much, and but okay, he has to. It's a very long race. Also, it's coming very hard, and we will not see the pace, I imagine, of this warm-up or whatever. So the pace will be quite slow. You need to be patient, manage very well the tire, and arrive in a good condition to the end. So he has all the chance to make a good race, and we see what's happened. We try.
Thanks, David.
And also Johan this morning had a big improvement. And okay, again, starting from 20 position, that is a shame. But also he can manage to get a good pace. We found something good on his bike setting to make him more comfortable. Let's see.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. What can Alex Rins do then from 13th place on the grid? 19th in Le Mans last time out, fought his way through to a top 10, but 6 points, not the kind of points you need if you're going to take the fight in the World Championship to Marc Marquez, who just continues to rack up the podiums. The Suzuki fans are out in force, though. That's a pretty impressive piece of flag work.
Certainly is, yes. Alex Rins, of course, minus Le Mans, a great habit of flying through the pack, being strong at the end of races. Has he been perhaps discounted out of the podium race when he shouldn't be? Joan Mir, as Davide Brivio mentioned, second overall in warm-up this morning. And he's got work to do, though, from 20th, and so has Dovizioso. Fratelli d'Italia, the national anthem of Italy.
Well, if that doesn't get the hairs on the back of your neck standing up, if that doesn't get your heart pounding ahead of this Italian Grand Prix.
Well, they'll certainly be hoping that they're going to hear that music at the end of today's race, aren't they, the home fans? And will they be hearing it with an Italian manufacturer as well? Let's find out what Davide Tardozzi makes of things for his riders. He's down on the grid with Simon.
No, I'm with Paolo Ciabatti, which is also with Ducati. But Paolo, a couple of questions for you. After warm-up this morning, it looked like Dovi had found something, got more comfortable. And the other one is Danilo Petrucci. I've picked him for podium today, but I want to know from you, is he well physically?
Yeah, he's not perfect, but I think he's much better than yesterday. So we hope he can do the whole race without any physical problem. And Dovi, yes, he found something today in the warm-up, so he was quite happy and quite consistent. So we think we can do a good race with Danilo, with Dovi, but also with Michele, Jack and Pecco. So let's hope we can have a great race. It's going to be a tough race. I think many riders will be fighting for the top position, so a lot of fun for the spectators, maybe a little less for us, but we aim at the podium finish here.
One last question. You mentioned Jack and Pecco. I was kind of thinking that the young guys would try to run at the front in the beginning. Do you think that's likely?
Depending if I get a good start, I think I will try to be in front. As you could see, Jack tried already in Le Mans, so I expect him, if he gets a good start, to be trying to be in front and see how the pace will be.
Thank you, Paolo.
You're welcome.
Thanks to Paolo Ciabatti there on the grid, hoping for a good day for Ducati. We just saw there the legend Max Biaggi, four-time 250cc world champion. He's, of course, down there looking for a good day for Aprilia. We just saw Pol Espargaro a little while ago as well, Matt, and KTM looking for back-to-back top 8 finishes. Perhaps 6 might be a little bit much of a tall order, but another good top 10 today would be brilliant for the Austrian manufacturer.
Yeah, Pol Espargaro said yesterday a 7th or an 8th place will represent another excellent performance from him and the factory KTM team.
Closer and closer we get then to race time here in Mugello, and what a season it has been so far here in MotoGP.
Look at this.
It is Dobby versus Marquez. Brilliant reply from Dovizioso.
Dolby does the business in Doha.
Here comes Rins. Rins has found a gap. The factory Suzuki rider has done it, and he wins his first ever MotoGP race. Who launches it up the hill?
Marquez stands firm.
A momentous victory. Here comes Miller.
Miller's on the inside of Marc Marquez. Yes, he can. That's just the power of the country. Look at this.
Marquez makes it 300 for Honda. Marquez leads into Mugello, but this is Ducati's backyard. Can anyone stop the Bologna bullets? Well, that's the big question, isn't it? Can anyone stop Ducati? Well, Marc Marquez certainly hopes to do some damage. He's out there with a hard front, hard rear, of course. Maybe the temperature's forcing his hand. It's a hard front, medium rear for Quartararo and medium for Petrucci, who will start from 3rd, looking for his first ever MotoGP race victory. Likewise for Quartararo, although you would feel a podium would do. Can these two, though, challenge the man that sits on pole position? The man who is the world champion, the man who is unbeaten in the last 2 races. He's looking to make it 3 on the trot. He's looking to break some Italian hearts. He's done it before. Can he do it again? Marc Marquez starts from pole here for the Grand Prix of Italy.
It's majestic, it's magnificent, it's Mugello and MotoGP. 23 laps coming your way for the Premier Class riders. Marc Marquez starts on pole position, ahead of Fabio Quartararo and Danilo Petrucci. Franco Morbidelli, Jack Miller and Cal Crutchlow are on row 2. Maverick Vinales, the Spaniard, will lead the charge from row 3, ahead of Pecco Bagnaia and Andrea Dovizioso, ahead of his 300th Grand Prix start. Nakagami, Pol Espargaro and Ducati wildcard Michele Pirro round out row 4. Row 5, led by Alex Rins, Tito Rabat and Aleix Espargaro on the all-Spanish row 5. Carol Abraham out-qualified Jorge Lorenzo and home crowd favourite Valentino Rossi way down in 18th place. Zarco Mir and Cyrene on row 7. Miguel Oliveira and Andrea Iannone on the factory Aprilia. That is your 8th row and the 23-strong field here in Mugello.
As suspected, the vast majority of riders going for that medium rear tyre. A few going for a hard rear, including Marc Marquez. Only one rider on the grid has opted for the soft Michelin rear tyre. That is a man who has very little to lose towards the back end of the grid in Johann Zarco, a tyre, of course, which he fancied so often on the Tech 3 Yamaha. So often this year, Matt, Marc Marquez has led into turn 1 because he's been on that front row, and his new plan this year has been to break away. Can he do it again today? Does he want to do it again today? Does he have the pace to do it again today?
Well, I'm sure he does as we look at some stellar statistics from Andrea Dovizioso's career. 300 starts, 22 wins, 95 podiums, now tied with Australian legend Mick Doohan. 20 poles, he broke a new top speed record here in Mugello, but it's not what he wants, top speed. He wants the top step of the podium in front of almost 84,000 sun-kissed, sun-drenched fans here in Mugello. We can quickly pop back down to Simon Crafer, who's grabbed Petrus SRT boss Wilco Zeelenberg ahead of this Italian Grand Prix. Simon.
Wilco, you're an experienced rider and you're working with the sensation Quartararo, also Morbidelli. I want to know, do you think one of your boys can get a podium today?
Well, I think they both have the pace, but you're not alone out there, and they all want to be at the podium. So this, normally causes trouble, you know. So, but for sure they have the pace. Frankie is doing a crazy job at the moment on his home track, but Fabio has been amazing all weekend, and hopefully we can compensate to the Jerez disaster where we missed out the podium. But let's hope at least one of the boys can be on the podium.
Thank you.
Entirely possible, of course. They are lacking a bit of power. They will get swallowed up at times down that start-finish straight.
Fascinating to see how this one unfolds, Steve. Really intriguing. Will Marc Marquez get the hammer down from the start? Andrea Dovizioso, his main championship rival over the last couple of years and in 2019, said yesterday it will be another tyre management race. It's impossible to push 100% from the start because the tyre wear, the rear tyre consumption has been so high this weekend.
Marc Marquez has not won here in Mugello since 2014. Can he put that right here today?
Ducati going for the hat-trick. Andrea Dovizioso victorious in 2017, his first dry race victory in the Premier Class. Jorge Lorenzo took his first Ducati win here 1 year ago. Can the Bologna brand go 4-3 on the spin in Mugello?
Chapter 6, Mugello. It's magnificent and it's ready for action. 23 laps coming, and there's a problem for one of the Reale Avintia riders. More on that in just a moment, because we're ready to go racing here. Look to the light, top left corner, and away we go. Good start there from the second row for Franco Morbidelli. Not so there for Fabio Quartararo. It's Tito Rabat that's not got away well, but Marc Marquez, as he does so often, has got away best and will surely lead into turn one. But look at Dovi from 9th.
Brilliant start then by Andrea Dovizioso. Awesome start by Desmo Dovi. Already up 6 places from 9th into 3rd. Cal Crutchlow got away well too from the second row. Crutchlow's picked up 4 places. 6th to 2nd for the LCR man.
Honda, Ducati. Cal Crutchlow with a brilliant start himself from 6th then, but Dovizioso was the man that got away best. Nightmare for Rabat, but he's just about got out. There's Nakagami going up the inside of Polis Spargaro. Good starts for the pair of them.
The Ducati whole shot device working supreme then for Andrea Dovizioso. The dream start for Dovi, just what he wanted, but Marc Marquez got a better one. He's got the launch, he got the whole shot, and he's exactly where he wants to be, position A in the lead.
Nightmare start for Fabio Quartararo and Franco Morbidelli with a lot of work to do already. Danilo Petrucci thought about a move on his teammate there, Dovizioso. That would be brave. Jack Miller's in there in 5th as well. It wasn't such a good start for Bagnaia either. He's been mired down. He's down in 13th place. Cal Crutchlow almost snuck through on Marc Marquez there.
You're right, Steve. Dovizioso and Quartararo have gone opposite ways at the start of this race. Dovi 9th to 3rd. Quartararo 2nd to 9th. Awful start for the Frenchman.
Dovizioso thinking about a move there. Will he wait until the start finish straight? We're on board here with your race leader, Marc Marquez, looking back to Cal Crutchlow. Further back, Valentino Rossi's just made up a couple of places, but not really enough.
Not the first time this year, Steve, that Fabio Quartararo's fluffed the start. He did it 2 weeks ago in his home Grand Prix in Le Mans. Dovizioso's attacking Cal Crutchlow at Bacchini for the first time of asking, and he makes it stick. What a first lap it's been then for Andrea Dovizioso. Crutchlow gets picked up as well by Petrucci. Dovizioso's gained 7 places on this first lap, and now he leads the charge against Marc Marquez.
Marc Marquez might well be surprised if he sees that number 4 come past him in the early stages. It's a good start also for Alex Rins. He comes through into 7th. Look at Jack Miller though. He powers past 2 for 1 into turn 1. Jack Miller goes up into 3rd.
Yeah, Cal Crutchlow's getting a bit beaten up here. 2nd he went into that final corner. He's now in 5th place. Jack Miller with some absolutely phenomenal slipstream. We know that the Ducati doesn't need a slipstream. It's already capable of doing, well, 220 miles an hour without a tow, but Miller with the slipstream forced his way up the inside of Crutchlow and Petrucci.
Joan Mir's made a good start. He's gone up 7 places. He's into 13th ahead of Pirot, then Lorenzo and Rossi, 15th and 16th. It's Marquez, though, that leads from Dovizioso. Further back, there's Maverick Vinales just behind Pecco Bagnaia. This is the race start from Marc Marquez. Oh, blimey. Almost on the grass there, a couple of the riders. powering through though. Look at the Ducati there of Dovizioso from 9th on the grid.
Well, that's that whole shot device working an absolute treat, isn't it? Brilliant start by Dovizioso. He did it when he started way back in Austin, 13th, wasn't he? He was in the top 6 at the end of the first lap. There's Pecco Bagnaia having a good fight mid-pack against Maverick Vinales, who's had an awful start yet again. Vinales started 7th. He's about to be. I thought he was picked off by Paul Espargaro as well. Not inside the top 10. Vinales' early race gremlins have returned.
Quartararo then down in 8th place. He's got good rhythm though, so he's just got to try and be patient here. He's just behind the 2 LCR Honda riders, Nakagami and Crutchlow, who you're right is struggling. Alex Rins there now starting to make his way through. The factory Suzuki rider, he had good pace in free practice 4 the other day as Petrucci goes back through on his old teammate. So it's a factory 2nd and 3rd Ducati now as Marc Marquez looks to try and stretch them out front.
Yeah, Marquez already in the groove. Fastest man on circuit though is Pecco Bagnaia, just at the top of your picture on 1:47.907. It's getting tight between the two men who are in a tight battle to try and be Andrea Dovizioso's factory Ducati teammate in 2020. Petrucci versus Miller, more than just points at stake between those two.
Absolutely right. As Cal Crutchlow there thought about a move on Alex Rins, we're now looking back from Danilo Petrucci, sorry, from Jack Miller to Alex Rins.
Really impressive that lap by Pecco Bagnaia. Only 3 riders on that second lap in the 47s. 1-year race leader Marc Marquez, that's no great surprise. The other 2 were Alex Rins, who's looking really strong. Come from a long way back in 13th place to slot himself early doors in the top 5. And Bagnaia, so he's running a real strong pace on that Pramac Ducati, just at the back of this lead group of 9.
Yamaha's struggling at the moment. Quartararo leading them in 8th. Then it's Morbidelli. Rossi's down in 16th at the moment. Maverick Vinales 12th.
The problem is, Steve, getting that bad start, that sluggish start that the Yamahas did, the issue is in the race. They're so slow on the straight, they're not going to slipstream anybody, they're going to get past. Fabio Quartararo has had the fastest Yamaha all weekend, but even he has been, on average, 15 kilometres an hour slower than the Hondas and the Ducatis on the straight. Missing that start, has really cost them. Rins very aggressive up the inside of Jack Miller. Thank you very much, Alex Rins. I'll have that 4th place.
Yeah, this is a really strong start. Davide Brivio said to Simon down there that he was hopeful of a podium today, and his man's well placed in 4th, having started down in 13th.
Yeah, and if we get into a tyre management race, well, you do know that there's a couple of guys in this top 4, notably Dovizioso and Rins. Well, that's their forte. That's where they really come into their own. They are the masters of tyre management. That's a little bit of a grey area of concern, perhaps, for Danilo Petrucci.
Rins with the fastest lap of the race then in 4th, the man on the Suzuki number 42, as they look to try and claw back this advantage that Marc Marquez has got. A mistake further back there for Pecco Bagnaia into turn 1. He loses a spot to Quartararo, who's actually must have made a mistake himself because he's just dropped way back, Quartararo. I don't know what's just happened there, but it's Marquez from Dovi. Here comes Rins. Neatly done. Well executed move that from the Suzuki rider and the 3 men that are in the top 3 spaces in the World Championship.
Well, wretched qualifying so far this year for Alex Rins has meant he's had to show his overtaking prowess in the first 5 races, and he's done it again here in Mugello. It's taken him 3 1/4 laps to pick off 10 places. Brilliant start to this Italian Grand Prix for the Suzuki man. You've got to go all the way back to 1995. Yes, 1995. Daryl Beattie, the Australian, for the last time a Suzuki was on the podium here in Mugello.
Looks like he's going to make light work of Dovizioso here as well, and maybe get his teeth stuck into Marc Marquez. Keep an eye on then the blue bike of Alex Rins in 3rd place, trying to find a way through now on Dovizioso. We're on board with him now around Correntejo, this hairpin. Get on the power and then up towards this left-right flick. Rins might even have a look here into the final corner if he's got the drag. Not on this occasion.
There's only 2 riders out there in this race on the hard rear tyre. They're Marquez and Morbidelli. They both ran that setup in FP4 and in the walk this morning. Rins just getting a little bit nervous and twitchy on the gas with a bit of lean angle coming out of Bacini corner. Is he going to get swallowed up in the slipstream by Petrucci's Ducati and Jack Miller's Ducati? Well, Petrucci's got it, and Miller might do as well. The Suzuki's not slow by any stretch of the imagination. It's just that the Ducati with slipstream as well, well, you're just not going to stop it from piling on through. Got to feel a bit sorry there for Alex Rins. He was just powerless. That's a really demoralising experience because you're right on the ragged edge. Your motorcycle's not slow, but the horsepower advantage from the Ducati clear for all to see.
So Marquez it is still from Dovi, now Petrucci in third, then Miller, Rins and Cal Crutchlow. Taka Nakagami doing a good job, he's seventh ahead of Bagnaia, and Quartararo just having a couple of laps in trouble there. Then it's Morbidelli and Polispargaro.
Yeah, you're right, Steve. Quattararo's last lap was a mid-148, nowhere near the pace that he needs to be. He was a good half a second off the pace of the top four.
Rossi's gone, he's dropped out. I've got a feeling Valentino Rossi, something's happened to him. He's still on the bike, but something has just happened to Valentino Rossi because he's dropped all the way down outside the top 20.
Well, he's being kicked while he's down, and Danilo Petrucci, he's put Andrea Dovizioso one place down. Petrucci then up into second place now. He takes the fight to Marc Marquez. Petrucci looking for back-to-back podiums for the first time in his Grand Prix career. What did happen to this man then, Valentino Rossi?
Well, he's down in last place, so something big has happened. Just in the background there, oh, he tags the back of Joan Mir going into the chicane.
Dearie me, poor old Joan Mir. How many ladders has that young man walked under so far this year? He just cannot get any break. Petrucci has started to hit the front. Danilo Petrucci, he came over the line at the start of this fifth lap in fourth place. He's taken Rins, he's taken Dovizioso, and now he's taken Marc Marquez. He leads the Italian Grand Prix. He leads for the first time this season.
Here comes the other Ducati, but Marquez says, no, you don't. He goes into turn one and squeezes through, but he's well wide, and he's going to lose a couple of places. Jack Miller also trying to make it into Ducati 1, 2, 3. Marquez, though, pounces back on Dovi through turn 3, and now the race is on, as Dovi says, no, you don't. And now comes Miller as well. Marquez getting a bit of a bullying here from the Ducatis in fourth, and now Rins.
Marc Marquez getting duffed up by the Ducatis, and now the Suzukis are coming to the fore as well. Alex Rins, in the blink of an eye, Marc Marquez has gone from first down into fifth place. We've got ourselves a race here in Mugello, folks.
Marc Marquez, who's been so dominant, is really going to have to work now for this one. It's Danilo Petrucci with a stunning lap, by the way, a 47.733 from him. That's not bad at all at this stage of the race. Dovizioso second, then Miller. It's a Ducati 1, 2, 3, which my memory serves me right. We've never had a Ducati 1, 2, 3 in MotoGP.
Petrucci did set the fastest lap of the race here 1 year ago, of course. That was a 48.001, so he's already 0.3 of a second faster. So then, some big questions being asked of Marc Marquez. Not too many were asked of him in Jerez and Le Mans last time out. Not too many were asked of him in Argentina. He failed a big test of his own concentration in Austin, of course, when he failed out of the lead, and now he's got perhaps the biggest fight he's had since the opening night in Qatar on his hands here.
Ducati, Suzuki, Honda at the moment at the front end of this one. No Yamaha in sight. Morbidelli leading the Yamaha charge in ninth. As we go across the line here, is Dovizioso going to challenge Marquez? Has gone past Alex Rins. Up towards turn 1 we go, and Dovizioso does lead then. Can he hold it though into turn 1?
That was tight. How tight was that between Rins and Marquez? Franco Morbidelli has crashed out. Alex Rins so close to T-boning Marc Marquez. There is then contact between Marquez and Miller. It's all kicking off here in Mugello.
Miller not willing to let Marquez through there. There was definite contact between the 43 and the 93.
Yamaha having a nightmare day. Quartararo fluffed the start. Rossi tagged Joan Mir and dropped back to last place. Franco Morbidelli now has crashed out of the race too. Maverick Vinales is only in 10th place. Yamaha are having an absolute misery in Mugello.
Marc Marquez there trying to find a way back through on Jack Miller in fourth place.
That was tight between Marquez and Rins as well, though. Marquez will have no idea just how close he was to being tagged and T-boned by Alex Rins. He just missed him. That was all about the slipstream. Rins got great slipstream down that start-finish straight. Probably going into that corner, 9 or 10 k's quicker than normal. Just, adjust your braking markers. It was really tight. And then it did get seriously tight between Miller and Marquez as they climbed out of San Donato.
Into Correntallo, the Ducati stand just there on the left. They're happy with what they're seeing at the moment. It's Dovi, Petrucci and Miller.
Now, Dovizioso, his modus operandi in the past, Steve, has been sometimes to get to the front and then just slow the pace down. He locks down into tyre management mode. I just wonder whether he's going to be able to do that here, though, because with the slipstream, he's so susceptible to being overtaken. It's not a tactic he's going to be able to employ as effectively as he has done in the past.
Mind you, he might take it at the moment. He started 9th on the grid. Did he expect to see himself, as we complete lap 7, first place? Down to the start-finish straight we go, and they're all jostling for position behind Dovizioso. Miller with the inside line. He's not going to get that stopped as he just gets it settled as he tips into turn 1. And now Marquez is trying to fish his way past Petrucci as well.
What a race we've got. Only 8 laps into this Italian Grand Prix. And while Petrucci, Marquez and Miller slug it out, it's just giving Andrea Dovizioso the tiniest margin to open up, 3 or 4 bike lengths on Petrucci. It's Miller that now gets picked off. They're firing bikes up the inside of each other, left, right and centre, so Rins now back into 4th place.
Crutchlow's starting to get into contention now as well, while these lot chop and change.
Exactly. While Rins, Marquez, Miller, Petrucci and Dovizioso are taking lumps out of each other, it's just dragging Cal Crutchlow right back into it. Not too far behind is Pecco Bagnaia, who's managed to get himself back ahead of Taka Nakagami.
We've got ourselves a race here in Mugello, that's for sure. This is what happened earlier. We just missed the incident there from Rins and Marquez, but then watch this contact between Miller and Marquez. Marquez almost losing the front there into turn 3. Turn 2, sorry.
Jack Miller gave a couple of lunges up the inside of Marc Marquez in Le Mans last time out. It is still Andrea Dovizioso then. He's in a little bit wide at contact, and Rossi has gone down. Well, the doctor's disaster is complete. Started 18th, his worst dry qualifying since 2006, off the circuit early doors at turn 4, and now he's off the circuit permanently. Rossi has crashed and his day is over.
There's a change at the front as well. Dovi's in wide at the final turn of Bacchini, and Danilo Petrucci comes through on him onto the start-finish straight. Have you ever seen a more miserable day for Valentino Rossi in Mugello?
Well, it's his first DNF since Japan 2017 in rain conditions. Marquez got brilliant slipstream behind Petrucci. Petrucci, though, has got the inside line. There's no way Marquez can turn in. He'll hope that Petrucci runs wide and can do him on the cutback, but Petrucci got it absolutely nailed on the brakes. No way through for Marquez. Rins and Miller contend their own personal duel. Cal Crutchlow just keeping a watching brief at the moment. Cal Crutchlow is the only man in this top 6 at the moment who's not really made any kind of significant move, not really made any kind of overtake. He's just happy to watch the drama unfold in front of him.
Again, wide from Dovizioso out front, and it's going to bunch them all up. Alex Rins now looking to try and pull a move on Marc Marquez, and he's going to make it stick as well. That was neatly done again by Alex Rins. He really is loving this race in Mugello right now. Pecco Bagnaia has all of a sudden appeared out of nowhere as well. What a ride from the rookie.
Yeah, he dispensed of Taka Nakagami and has got away from the Japanese rider pretty quickly. Nakagami's got his hands full dealing with Fabio Quartararo, who's got a second buffer over fellow Yamaha rider Maverick Vinales. No way through for Miller on Marquez down into Scarperia. It was at Scarperia last year, of course, when Marquez's victory challenge disappeared. He crashed out, remounted in 16th place. That was the last time Marquez came over the line and saw a checkered flag, and he wasn't on the podium.
Cal Crutchlow is just sitting there in 6th at the moment, watching this one unfold. It's Dovi, Petrucci, Rins, Marquez. There's Pecco Bagnaia, fastest rookie, just up ahead of Nakagami and Quartararo, who's starting to creep into this as well. And now here comes Rins again, and he moves up into 2nd place, into Pacini, the final corner. Slightly wide they both run. Well, now he's got a chance at taking the lead.
Well, you've got to think that Petrucci's going to pounce using the Ducati power. Here he comes, Petrucci just winds that Ducati Desmond Stedici up the top gear. Surely he's going to blitz by the Suzuki, and with the 2-bike slipstream. Marquez, has he got up the inside or around the outside even of Petrucci? Rins is in 2nd place. He did hold firm. That was really impressive drive out the final corner by the Suzuki GSX-RR.
Petrucci doing everything to fend off Marc Marquez there, who of course has got the supreme turning bike and can turn like on a sixpence on that Honda.
And the lead group of 6 is now 7 and not too far away from being 8. Rins pounces. Alex Rins then takes the lead. He's up the inside of Andrea Dovizioso. Dovizioso, though, squeezed him out coming through turn number 6. What a race we have, it's unbelievable. Nakagami and Quartararo are coming back into this as well. The lead group of 6, when we started this lap, is about to become 9.
This is absolutely sensational, that Mugello. Petrucci up the inside now of Rins, there's not enough room there.
Oh, this is like a Moto3 race. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's Dovizioso from Rins. Dovizioso, last time around, he's time managing this, he stays managing this race. The fastest lap of the race was by Petrucci, a 47.7. Dovizioso's last lap was a 48.8, 1.1 seconds slower than the best race. As we suspected, Dovizioso, as he traditionally does, this is his trademark tactic. He's just battened down the hatches and gone into time management mode at this stage of the race. Although he's been picked up there by Rins at Corantaio. That was right in front of the Ducati grandstand. That was ruthless and aggressive by Rins, but absolutely brilliantly done.
From 13th on the grid then, the factory Suzuki rider leads into the final corner. Somehow 10 laps are about to have flown by. We're going to have 13 laps remaining, but he's about to get swallowed up by Danilo Petrucci on the Ducati. It is a fantastic race here in Italy, and it's being led by the Suzuki of Alex Rins, but not for long. Across the line, here comes Petrucci with the Ducati power. Dovizioso comes the other side of him and powers past the pair of them as they try and get these machines stopped.
Blink and you'll miss this. It is unbelievable MotoGP action, reminiscent of a Moto3 race, and it's now Danilo Petrucci that leads the way. Thankfully, we've not even reached half race distance, and we've had, what, the best race of the season so far. Happy Sirens entered the pits on the Red Bull KTM. The gap over the line between the top 9 riders was just 1.4 seconds. It is like Moto3.
Alex Rins just loves that move into turn 4.
Do you remember, Steve? I think it was Qatar where Alex Rins said he had the better pace than Andrea Dovizioso. The fact that Dovizioso was slowing down the pace was frustrating me a little bit, and because he couldn't pass the Ducati on the straight, it was just holding him up. I just wonder here in this race where Alex Rins has gone into Qatar mode as well and thinking, I've got the better pace than these guys, they're holding me up.
Well, I reckon all of them at the moment feel like they've got a realistic podium chance. I don't think many people thought it was going to be as close as this here in Mugello.
Well, and this titanic tussle at the front as well, it's actually dragging Maverick Vinales, who was looked way out of it. He's still in this podium battle, and race pace all weekend, Maverick Vinales has looked pretty strong. It's been a tough weekend. He said that every lap is fighting the bike, not a lot of stability front and rear. The bike feels aggressive, it's really energy sapping, fatiguing mentally and physically, because you've got to concentrate so hard to hit your braking markers and carry your normal lines. But he's not out of this yet, Vinales. A long way to go. 12 laps on a corner, to be precise.
Onto the home straight we go once more. Danilo Petrucci, looking for his first ever MotoGP victory, leads in his home Grand Prix on a Ducati ahead of Dovizioso. Through comes Marquez. There's nothing wrong with the speed of that Honda this year, is there? Screams past Alex Rins. They break down into turn 1. Jack Miller on the yellow and black Ducati, just a bit hot in there, but they all bunch up. Cal Crutchlow's still there in 6th. Then it's Bagnaia. Then it's Nakagami. And you can just see Quartararo and Vinales there in the background, 9th and 10th.
Yeah, Cal Crutchlow just has not made a move with anybody in front of him. Traditionally, when he's in these group battles, Steve, Cal Crutchlow has real issues with overheating that front tyre. I just wonder if he's got the same kind of problem now, which is just making him that little bit hesitant to fire it up the inside of somebody ahead of him.
Petrucci it is that has this advantage then over Dovi. Here comes Marc Marquez in 3rd. Is there an opportunity appearing for the Repsol Honda rider now, with Rins in 4th? Up to Arrabbiata 1, up the hill then into Arrabbiata 2. We're on board with the Repsol Honda, the world champion Marc Marquez. Is he now looking to line up a move on Dovizioso?
Well, over the line last time around, there was 2.4 seconds covering the top 10. Behind this lead group, it's Piero Polispargo, Lorenzo, Aleix Espargo and Joan Zarco that are rounding out the point-scoring finishers. Lorenzo at the moment, he's a long way behind Polispargo, half a second clear of Aleix Espargo, so nowhere near where last year's race winner wanted to be. Turn 9. This is going to be a fast old tumble for Valentino Rossi, is it? This is where he's gone down. Losing the front at Arrabbiata 2. That's going to ruffle the feathers and get the old bones creaking when he wakes up tomorrow morning.
Halfway point reached in this MotoGP race in Italy. Chapter 6, an arm being raised there from Dovizioso, or was he pulling off a tear off? I'm not quite sure, but either way, Marc Marquez trying to challenge him into turn 1. Hard on the brakes though is Dovizioso, a stable area for them. Oh, Bagnaia has gone down. He was on for a fantastic race, the number 63, and it's at the last corner, and the bike's smoking away here as well, so it must have caught fire.
Well, there's that, a mechanical.
Well, they're going to have to get that sorted pretty quickly.
Yeah, there's a lot of smoke being kicked out by that machine.
see what happened to Bagnaia. Oh, I was looking at the wrong Ducati then, but
well, he was out so wide. He was well wide. He just carried a little bit more lean angle to try and make the corner before he ran off, and then on that dirty part of the circuit, well, the front end just washed out. So 10 becomes 9 in the lead group.
on board here with Marc Marquez, looking up towards Andrea Dovizioso. This is turn 9 where Valentino Rossi just went down a moment ago.
See, look what happened, Steve. Petrucci got back to the front, and straight away he was like, okay, I'm not having this. I'm getting the hammer down again. He dropped the pace straight back into 47s. He was 1.1 seconds quicker than Dovizioso when he was at the front. Clear proof, clear evidence that Andrea Dovizioso, whenever he gets to the front, he just backs out of it with tyre preservation in his mind.
Thing is though, does Petrucci want to sit at that pace? Traditionally speaking, Petrucci does run into a few tyre life problems himself.
Well, he's got to save two things today. One is rear tyre and two is energy. He's had to climb off his sickbed to even just take part in this race. He's been loading himself up with antibiotics, a real nasty bout of the flu, bereft of energy, sore throat, he's struggling to breathe, but he's doing a fantastic job right now. And here comes Marquez in the slipstream. You're absolutely right, Steve. That would not have happened over the last couple of years. A Honda slipstreaming a Ducati just shows how much horsepower, how much grunt Takeo Yokoyama and his HRC engineers have put into that RC213V this year. That is just something that never, ever happened in MotoGP.
No, that's the first time I've seen a Honda slipstream a Ducati. Dovizioso himself, there was almost on the grass as they went on the approach to the brakes into turn number 1. Alex Rins is still there. Jack Miller's just stretching at the moment to try and stay with this group. Cal Crutchlow and Nakagami have fallen away completely as the pace has been upped at the front by Petrucci.
Yeah, as soon as it got into the 147s again, Crutchlow and Nakagami can't get out of the 148s. The quickest of the top 5 last time around actually was Jack Miller in 5th. He did a 47.814. Dovizioso loose on that rear tyre over Arrabbiata 2, so loose he lost all momentum and drive. Let Alex Rins come through, but then straight away through Scarpari and Pelagio, Dovizioso strikes straight back.
Into Correnteo, Petrucci, Marquez, Dovi and Rins. Your top 4 at the moment. How is the energy for Petrucci? Just in the background, Hafi Siren has definitely retired now out of this race.
It's brave this by Petrucci, Steve. You know, 10 laps to go still. That's a long, long way. We're only just over half race distance. Has he made the move too soon in terms of tyre life? Sometimes we see riders, they wait until the last 5 or 6 laps. This is bold by Petrucci to make the running at this stage of the race. He's certainly broken up that lead group. All he's been able to do is drag Marquez, Dovizioso, Rins and Miller with him. And Miller just struggling as well himself. Miller couldn't get in the 147s last time around. The lead quartet all in those 47s. So Jack Miller, he's not missing much, just a couple of tenths.
Into turn 2, around to turn 3. Dovizioso now trying to find a way back past Marc Marquez to make it a factory Ducati 1-2. Still plenty of time left in this race here in Mugello for round 6 of the World Championship. And the main men in the championship are all there. All barring Rossi, of course, who was 4th coming into this one, but will drop down the leaderboard significantly as it stands. Nakagami up ahead of Crutchlow. Those two have been completely dropped, and that will be a bit of a humbling defeat for Cal. And Nakagami beats him here today, although he is feeling a bit worse for wear after a big crash yesterday.
Yeah, particularly when you consider Taka Nakagami's on the year-old 2018 Honda that Cal Crutchlow did so well. He hasn't found the sweet spot, the good feeling with the 2019 RC213V chassis, has he, Cal Crutchlow? Down into Scarpari, then it's still Petrucci that's making the headway at the front of this Italian Grand Prix. There is Nakagami. Crutchlow is going to have his hands full of 2 Yamahas as well, because Quattararo and Viñales are bearing down him now.
Yeah, Crutchlow said he feels better as a rider this year, but he actually preferred last year's bike. He seemed to feel better on last year's bike. And Nakagami doing a good job on that, and Crutchlow, yeah, really running into a bit of trouble here because the 2 Yamahas behind look like they want to pick up a few spots. I have to say, I'm rather surprised at the speed of Quattararo in this one. The rhythm he's had in all 3 practice sessions so far suggested that he might have a better chance at this, but a bad start and real speed issues for the Yamaha mean that they're not making much headway.
Jack Miller is back in the 47s and some. He's just set the fastest lap of the race. What a lap that was by Jack Miller, a 47.6. 0.2 of a second quicker than your race leader, Danilo Petrucci. So he's hanging on in there, is Jack Miller.
So it's Danilo Petrucci that leads this one from Marc Marquez, Dovi, Rins, Miller. These 5 at the moment are all linked together. There's 8 laps to go. Simon.
Yes, just a couple of observations.
Oh, sorry, we've lost
no.
Miller just as he posted the fastest lap. We'll come back to you in a moment, Simon. Jack Miller, well, he's got an awful record here in Mugello, and unfortunately it continues. He was just maybe asking a bit too much.
Well, he crashed out in 2014 in Moto3, crashed in 2015 and 2016. The Australian fans, well, they're gutted. Jack Miller will be gutted because he just set the fastest lap of the race. He was really trying to force the issue back for the podium. Back to you, Simon.
Commentator's curse. I was about to talk about Jack. What I'd noticed from Le Mans to here, Jack's learnt to do the lap time using less lean angle. He was using the edge grip of the tyres more in Le Mans. He could stay with these guys without doing that because the edge grip is the first to drop off. So basically he's learning, but obviously made a mistake.
Yeah, a real sad thing that for Jack Miller, and well, this battle that was once 8 is now just 4.
Yeah, he was on course for a 4th top 5 finish in 6, but there was Jack Miller. He'll be absolutely gutted. A bad day at the office for Pramac Ducati. Jack Miller and Pecco Bagnaia then crashing out of the lead group.
Onto the home straight we go, 7 laps remaining. Alex Rins is getting closer and closer, just on the exit there of the final turn. But here comes Marc Marquez. He's got the slipstream now on Danilo Petrucci, but he's not going to outbrake him. Can Petrucci get it stopped into San Donato? He can, just about.
Vinales has got through on Quartararo. Just has not been the Frenchman's day at all. Explosive pace over 1 hot lap in qualifying, but after that sluggish start off the line, never really got going, never looked like contending for that podium. And at the moment, he's not going to force the issue and get his first top 6 of the year as well. That's going to escape Fabio Quartararo. All part of the learning curve, which is pretty steep in MotoGP when you're racing competition like the top 4. He's keeping pretty good company though around him. Cal Crutchlow and Maverick Vinales ahead of him. Here's Pol Espargaro, who's now inside the top 10. Bucking and weaving on that KTM RC16. How often do we see that? It's been another good effort here by Pol Espargaro. He's had point scoring finish in his last 6 with 4 top 10s and well on course for yet another top 10.
The leading quartet are still here, all in one shot. Number 9, Petrucci. Number 93, Marquez. Number 4, Dovizioso. Number 42, Rins. There's a big gap then back to Nakagami, who's on for one of his better drive results.
Well, if Petrucci wins this one, we can put to bed any kind of gossip or speculation that he's under any serious threat to be relieved of his duties as Andrea Dovizioso's teammate next year. Ducati will never in a million years cut him loose. For me, he's already the favourite to get that ride, keep that ride over Jack Miller. But if he wins this Italian Grand Prix, a 3rd successive win for Ducati and Mugello, well, they might as well sign the contract tonight.
Well, if he does win, there'll be real tears down on that podium. On that podium.
You're not going to find, it will just be a massively popular win, not only in the paddock, Steve, but all around the world. He's one of the most likeable, lovable characters on the MotoGP grid. You're not going to find a more popular race winner today than Danilo Petrucci.
But you're not going to win a race like this without a proper fight from Marc Marquez.
No, he's going to have to do a fair bit of scrapping over these last, 6 laps or so as Danilo Petrucci. He's still got Marquez, Dovizioso and Rins pegged behind him.
Nice move that from Maverick Vinales. He moves up ahead of Cal Crutchlow, who might just be struggling a bit here with either fatigue or maybe a bit of tyre life. It's 6th place then for Maverick Vinales, who in free practice 4 yesterday didn't have bad pace. Let's have a look back at the front then. 6 tenths covering the top 4 riders here in Mugello with 6 laps to go. Fabio Quartararo there, just trying to find a way to get himself back up into the top 8. Here we go, back to the top 4. Danilo Petrucci it is that leading from Marc Marquez. Oh, it's so close still. You just cannot rule out Dovi or Rins still at this moment in time.
Well, we're in the stage of the race now where tyre wear is critical. And Marc Marquez trying to wear down Danilo Petrucci. Both of these 2 top men on the track right now. have been really ill, really sick this weekend. They're going to be feeling it physically right now. Their concentration levels being tested to the absolute limit. Exams that they passed with flying colours so far.
You know, Marc Marquez might just be quite happy at the moment to save a bit of tyre here for the last couple of laps. You almost get the feeling that if he's not going to win today, Dovizioso and Rins might have to rough him up again and stretch him, because this one's not over. And here comes Dovizioso now. He's got the inside line. Petrucci still leads. Dovizioso's going to squeeze out Marc Marquez. Oh, that was close into turn one.
Well, he grabbed the inside bit of tarmac, Andrea Dovizioso. He knew if he kept it firm on the brakes, there was just no way for Marc Marquez to turn in. Classic sort of block pass into San Donato, that executed by Andrea Dovizioso. So it's a Ducati 1-2 Mugello, just as it was here 12 months ago with Lorenzo and Dovizioso. That day, Marc Marquez was already out of contention at this stage. He's right in contention this year. He would love to win in Ducati's backyard here in Mugello, but Petrucci is looking absolutely in stunning form at the front. Nobody's not cracked or buckled under the pressure as yet.
Arrabbiata 1, uphill into Arrabbiata 2. Marc Marquez then pumped down to third. Alex Rins still there in fourth. Petrucci got a bit of breathing space. 0.3 of a second he has over his teammate Andrea Dovizioso. At the moment, Petrucci doing everything right. And at the moment, tyre life looks good. Into Correntallo, where there would be some serious noise if a Ducati 1-2's pulled off here. This is a circuit where Ducati have won the last 2 years, but throughout this weekend, they have not necessarily been the dominant force. This is good so far for them. Into the final corner, and there'll be 4 laps to go. Marquez looking to get himself now in line to pull off a bit of slipstream. And that's a sorry sight here in Mugello. Valentino Rossi then, his bike being wheeled back as we make our way onto the home straight.
Yeah, Simon Crayford said there's a few notorious bumps going up into Arrabbiata too. That may have caught out Valentino Rossi now. Andrea Dovizioso around the outside of Danilo Petrucci, and Dovizioso's made it stick. Andrea Dovizioso with 4 to go, strikes and hits the front. What has Petrucci got in response? Tries to fight immediately back coming into turn number 2. No way through though.
Marc Marquez will not want a bite between himself and Andrea Dovizioso, because that would be what happens in the championship if we move to Catalunya, 1 in it in favour of Dovi. On board now with Marc Marquez in third.
And Dovizioso's piled the pressure on Petrucci here because he knows it's a case of stick or twist. Will Petrucci really gamble and stick his neck out? These are teammates. Petrucci knows that Andrea Dovizioso is the biggest hope of Ducati winning the World Championship this year. How much risk will he take, bearing in mind it's his teammate right ahead of him, to try and win his first Grand Prix? We are in Mugello, we are in Italy, we are in Ducati's home race. Surely he's going to go for broke. He is going to go for broke. Up the inside of Dovizioso, down into Scarperia. We've had our answer emphatically already.
Yeah, Petrucci, he made it clean. Good move. Number 9 back in front. Marc Marquez, though, now looking to try and pounce, and that's brought Rins back into the frame as well. Downhill through this long right-hander that leads us up into the final sector.
Claudio Domenicali, Ducati boss, Ducati Supremo in the white shirt, looking very tense, looking very pensive, looking very apprehensive. You can understand why, because it's a Ducati 1-2 still. We're about to start the countdown to 3 laps to go in what's been a memorable Mugello Grand Prix. It will be Danilo Petrucci. Great drive out of the Bacini corner. This was a time last time around where Dovizioso blitzed him in the slipstream. Will it happen yet again? It does. Dovizioso, 220 miles an hour motorcycle underneath him, and he hits the front yet again, but Petrucci's having none of it. He's got the tight inside line, he takes the lead back.
Yeah, this isn't going to script here for Dovizioso. He's not going to have it easy here from Danilo Petrucci. Petrucci gave him a nod in Le Mans and said, thank you so much to Dovizioso for believing in me, and he's helped me a lot, but he's not going to get any more favours now. That's it. That's the end of the thank yous. This is on. This is for the Italian Grand Prix win, and you're on a Ducati. Alex Rins has been told by his team to go, but he looks like he's already being stretched slightly in fourth. He's not really challenged these guys for the last couple of laps.
Problem for Alex Rins is these guys are no mugs in the corners. He's got to make sure that, well, passing in over in MotoGP, it's a higher risk strategy, whoever you're racing against, but to try and find a way through on Marquez, Dovizioso and Petrucci, really difficult. And of course, of that top 4, he's got the slowest motorcycle, so he can't slipstream them down the start-finish straight. So a bit of a conundrum coming the way of Alex Rins here. How can he pick the pockets of the top three ahead of him? He's had a good look at them, he'll know the strengths and weaknesses of them, but overtaking or working out where you want to overtake is one thing, actually doing it is a totally different ball game.
There's still a few cards left to be played here in Mugello. We're getting closer to 2 laps to go. It has been hands down the best race of the season so far. A lot closer than we predicted, and we're loving it. It's Petrucci on for his first ever victory, ahead of Dovi, Marquez and Rins, with 2 laps to go when they cross the line next.
Just in the distance there as well, Steve, I just want to give a big mention out to a man who's doing an absolutely outstanding job. Taka Nakagami is in 5th place on the Idemitsu LCR Honda, easily on course for his best ever finish in the MotoGP World Championship.
Yeah, brilliant ride from Nakagami, I cannot argue with that at all. Down into turn 1 again, here comes Dovi, he's got the inside line, this time he's not close enough. Is Alex Rins just now starting to fall out of contention with a couple of laps to go?
He can't get close enough to slipstream, that's the problem. The Honda can slipstream the Ducati and vice versa, but Rins just cannot get close enough to tow those 3 bikes in front of him. He's got a 3-bike tow, but he hasn't got the speed. Maybe he's just losing a bit of rear grip as well, coming out of Bacini corner, maybe coming from 13. He just had to use and abuse his tyres up a little bit faster than the trio ahead of him.
Danilo Petrucci has lost out on victory agonisingly on a couple of occasions before and has come out second best. What is he thinking right now? He's leading this Grand Prix with 1.5 laps remaining, but he must know in the back of his head, this ain't over. Not with Dovi and Marquez behind him.
No, he knows the Alamo's coming. He is never going to be in a better position though than this to win the Italian Grand Prix. His first as a factory Ducati rider. He's in first position as they drop down into Scarpa for the penultimate time. He's still standing firm against Andrea Dovizioso. Marc Marquez, you know the kitchen sink's coming from the Repsol Honda man. He would love nothing more than to beat Ducati in their homeland. In front of the Ducati grandstand at Correntino, the Ducatisti are going to be going wild in about 2 minutes' time if it's Petrucci or Dovizioso that prevails.
This is shaping up to be a mammoth final lap in Mugello. We're on board with Marquez. Dovi is trying to shake this one up for a move into turn 1 on the final lap, but Marquez has got some speed in that final corner and he doesn't want to be forgotten about here either. We begin the final lap of the Italian Grand Prix and they are going to be 3 abreast by the looks of things going into turn 1.
Marquez gets the 2-bike slipstream on the factory Honda and Marc Marquez hits the front here in Mugello. Has he timed this to absolute perfection? Asking major questions. The 2 Ducatis, all 3 of them almost had contact. Petrucci ran the title line, picked up Dovizioso, he picked up Marc Marquez, and after all that, Petrucci still leads.
Petrucci leads, but Marquez is making shapes. He's trying to find a way through on the number 9. Is Rins still in this one because of all what's just happened into turn 1? They flick right. Petrucci, Marquez, Dovi, Rins. Dovi will not want to finish third here. Oh, I thought he was going to have a look there into Casanova, sorry. Now into Zaffelli, the left-hander.
Petrucci half a lap away from a famous, fantastic, unforgettable first victory in MotoGP here in Mugello. Marquez and Dovizioso, though, are piling on the pressure. Up into Arrabbiata 2 for the final time. It's still Petrucci.
Dovi's got to pounce. He's got to pounce. Is he going to make it into here? No. Marquez is having a look as well. Look at this. Is he going to pull off the move here? No. Dovi's getting close as well. We're entering the final sector shortly.
Well, it's going to be all about surely a move into the final corner. Bacini, can Marquez get it lined up? Can he nail Biondetti 1 and 2? Through Correntino for the final time, and Danilo Petrucci now just 3 corners away from his first Grand Prix victory. Can he hold firm into Bacini? Can he hold the slipstream off from Marc Marquez and Andrea Dovizioso? Petrucci then comes to turn 15. He leads. Dovizioso tried to find up the way, but Marc Marquez can't find a way through. Petrucci still leads into the final corner.
It's all about the slipstream. Rins is challenging Dovizioso. It won't be a win for them. The checkered flag is out here in Mugello. What's going to happen? Oh, it is!
Petrucci!
He's done it! Petrucci's dream is realised. He is a MotoGP winner at last, and he will tear the roof off Mugello.
What a race! What a day! What a moment for Danilo Petrucci and the factory Ducati team. Victories for the first time, Danilo Petrucci by less than half a tenth from Marc Marquez. Andrea Dovizioso in 3rd place. Alex Rins, a gallant 4th. Taka Nakagami, a stunning 5th. Vinales rounds out the top 6, but the plaudits and thoroughly deserved so. We'll go to this man, Danilo Petrucci. It's not that long ago, Steve, that this man thought about quitting MotoGP. He thought about walking away from MotoGP, toiling on uncompetitive bikes. Pramac Ducati gave him a chance. He earned his crust, he showed what he could do, showed his potential, got a factory Ducati ride, and in Mugello, in Ducati's backyard, he has taken his first ever victory, and the tears, as you'd expect, are flowing, overcome with emotion. What a way to do it. There are not many people, Steve, that can beat Marc Marquez and Andrea Dovizioso in a last lap showdown in MotoGP, and this man has just done that thing.
There will not be, other than Rossi, of course, in wonderful Mugello. This is the second best result they could possibly get. What does Gigi Dall'Igna make of it? He's down there with Simon now.
Gigi, tell us what you think of your boy Danilo.
Yeah, you know, Danilo did a fantastic race today, fantastic last lap, fantastic overtake to Marc. So, you know, I'm really happy for him.
Congratulations.
Huge congratulations. This is the big moment then. Marquez managed to get the slipstream, the double slipstream, but watch this. Dovizioso comes through. Contact between him and Marc Marquez. He gets sat up, you see, by Danilo Petrucci, who then touches Marquez. Danilo Petrucci then just flies through past the pair of them. Oh, that was close. So close. Wow, I tell you what, a more popular winner in the Grand Prix paddock you will not find.
Breathtaking, absolutely breathtaking. 41 minutes and 33 seconds here in Mugello. This is the moment that Danilo Petrucci has worked his entire life for. Meters and yards away from the checkered flag, and there it is. Marc Marquez just ran out of time, couldn't get in the slipstream, and Danilo Petrucci, universally liked around the world by MotoGP fans from all the four corners of the globe. What a brilliant victory. Marc Marquez, you knew he was going to try when he slipstreamed both the Ducatis going into San Donato. He must have thought, yeah, I've timed this to absolute perfection, but he just got in a fraction hot. The door was open. Dovizioso and Petrucci came sweeping on through. And Ducati have done it. They have made it 3 wins in a row here then at Mugello.
With 3 different winners.
Don't want to be too presumptuous, but I think we can pretty much categorically say that Ducati's 2020 factory lineup will be Andrea Dovizioso and Danilo Petrucci.
Andrea Dovizioso was involved in a great race there. He will be disappointed that he's lost out on some points there to Marc Marquez, but that was a race. That was a race and a half.
Well, you know what, Steve, he rode with an abundance of skill, an abundance of talent, but what heart he showed as well. Let's not forget, he has been to hell and back this weekend. He's had horrible night sweats, he's been struggling to sleep, struggling to breathe, struggling to just regulate his breathing when he's been on the bike. His sore throat's been that bad, the infections have been catching him everywhere, and here he is on the top step of the podium.
That is a great result, by the way, for Taka Nakagami.
Stunning.
5th place on last year's machinery. Alex Rins there, 4th was the best he could manage. Unfortunately, a bit more horsepower required for the factory Suzuki team to get them into contention.
Yeah, still no Suzuki podium then since 1995 in Mugello. That's one of the closest they've been to. Marc Marquez knows it was a significant 20 points for the championship. He knows that.
6 years ago, Danilo Petrucci was on an iota.
Well, that was at the time when I remember him in the press conference in Misano. He said, the pre-event press conference, you know, I can't get a competitive ride. I've done my best to show people what I can do. I think I'm going to have to bail out. I've tried my best. It's not working out. Looked like he was going to head off to World Superbikes. Pramac Ducati, and Ducati, you've got to say, saw something in him. He owes a massive debt of gratitude to Paolo Campinotti and Francesco Guidotti, who gave him this big break. So for the second time in a row in Mugello, Andrea Dovizioso gets outfoxed and outfought by his teammates. Boy, Lorenzo did it to him last year. 3 Ducati wins on the trot from 3 different riders, Dovizioso, Lorenzo and Petrucci. But this one's going to live long in the memory, not just because it was his first victory, but in the manner and the fashion that he did it. To hold off Marc Marquez and Andrea Dovizioso on the last lap shows real strong metal, real strong
Look
mentality.
at that, the Pramac team he used to work with, that's sensational. Matt, it's not just that, but it's Mugello.
Absolutely.
It's his home Grand Prix, and he's beaten the finest in it. There's not because anyone's fallen off.
No.
He's just done it. It's absolutely awesome to see.
And if it wasn't for Danilo Petrucci's heroics, well, undoubtedly Rider of the Day would have gone to Taka Nakagami, because on a year-old 2018 spec Honda, he was in 5th place, and he's earned his place in Parc Ferme, but so has this man, Daniele Romagnoli, his crew chief. They've been together for the last 2 or 3 years. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Prosecco flowing, a lot of tears flowing tonight, because that was just a phenomenal MotoGP race.
Let's
Absolutely
not forget,
brilliant.
Matt, that since the moment as we see these wonderful scenes, he's been under intense pressure from the moment he stuck on that red uniform.
Yeah, because everybody was saying, well, you know, he's been chosen to replace Jorge Lorenzo. He's not good enough to replace Jorge Lorenzo. Why have Ducati chosen him? Well, 23 laps in the Italian Grand Prix Mugello 2019 show exactly why Ducati chose him.
Incredible scenes, one that will live always in the memory of Danilo Petrucci. He has beaten the 2 men that for the last 2 years have dominated this MotoGP World Championship.
Yeah, you know, some people have perhaps said about Petrucci, you know, he doesn't take the racing seriously because he's like the joker of the pack. This guy works tirelessly behind the scenes. You think of the last couple of years, I think he's lost 10 kilos in weight. He does so much to get himself in this position. The sacrifices that he's had to make. He's even moved away from his normal home to be living close to Andrea Dovizioso to learn a few tricks of the trade off of Dovizioso. Great that for Taka Nakagami. There we saw Kawata-san, the HRC boss, coming down to congratulate the Japanese rider. A few brownie points earned today by Taka Nakagami. That was as hard-earned a win as you're ever going to see, and it's been well worth the wait. I would imagine that he's not had a win since probably European Superstock.
Correct, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, suddenly you just threw me then. Yes, the Superstock 1000 runner-up, wasn't he?
You know what, he can barely get back on his feet. Soak it up, Mr. Petrucci, because that was one of the best performances we've seen in a long time.
8 long years he's had to wait for a top step visit.
Well, I think we're all pretty chuffed now that he didn't wander off back to the World Superbike paddock. Andrea Dovizioso's 300th Grand Prix finishes on the podium, but not the top step that he wanted. Those 3 though in Parc Ferme, plus Alex Rins and a few others actually in the early part of that race, served up an absolute spectacle for us here in Mugello. We said it was marvellous, we said it was magnificent, we said it was majestic. Well, it lived up to its billing, didn't it? So happy for Danilo Petrucci, Steve. Absolutely delighted for him.
I am slightly struggling a little bit here to just hold back a bit of emotion, to be honest with you, because he's just lovable, isn't he? Well, he's just such a great guy in the paddock as well.
It's just impossible not to like him. Impossible not to like him.
He makes you laugh non-stop.
He's just a guy that loves life, he loves racing. He's got a great sense of humour. Just a really nice all-round guy, and good to see Marc Marquez coming over to congratulate him there. The pair of them have jumped off their sick beds to take the first 2 places in Mugello. Here's Andrea Dovizioso, he fought a great fight in his 300th Grand Prix. 3rd for Dovi, here's with Simon.
Andrea, that was a wonderful race to watch. How difficult was it to manage the risk in that fight?
Yeah, so all the race it was very difficult. We managed the grip because the temperature was so high, more than yesterday. So everybody's struggling with the grip, but overall we have to be happy because we fight for the victory another time. This is good. Disappointed for the third position because we need more points, but at the end I'm happy for Danilo because he deserved. He did a lot of effort to the training, and I'm happy for him and for the Ducati.
Nice words, Andrea.
Yeah, if there's one guy who knows just how tireless Danilo Petrucci has worked behind the scenes to get to this moment, this very special moment in his career, it is Andrea Dovizioso. And to be fair to Andrea Dovizioso, he's welcomed Petrucci with open arms into that factory Ducati garage. He said, look, we'll train together, you can have access to my medical staff, my physiotherapist, whatever you need, it is available. He's been like a soundboard just for Petrucci to bounce a few ideas off. So it's been a real team effort to get Petrucci to this stage.
He becomes the 4th different winner in this 2019 World Championship. Of course, Marc Marquez extends his lead in the World Championship to 12 going into Catalonia in 2 weeks' time. Great result, of course, in the team championship as well for Mission-Winnow Ducati. They extend their advantage in that one. Huge disappointment for Valentino Rossi and his fans, although credit to them, they've stuck around to watch what was the best race of the season. And here's Marc Marquez. He has been beaten for the first time, standing toe-to-toe since Qatar. Second today, but he extends the championship lead, and he is with Simon.
Great effort in Ducati territory, Mark. Tell us what happened out there.
Yeah, today we already say Thursday, but also we say yesterday that today was time to defend, and we defend in the best way. I mean, we stay there, no panic, and then just try in the last lap. And then I try in the last lap. Unfortunately, I missed the apex in the first corner, then both overtook me, but yeah, Danilo today was the fastest one. I mean, he did all the race in front, he deserved the victory, but my goal that was finish in front of Dovi and finish in front of Rins and finish in front of Valentino, we did, so happy with these 20 points here in Italy.
Another great job, Mark.
Mission accomplished for Marquez. His podium count continues to rack up now, level with the great Phil Reed. He said he wanted to defend, just hang in there for as long as he could and then try and pounce on the last lap. It looked like he'd executed that plan A to perfection, but then he just didn't quite get it cut down to the apex for that first corner. And Petrucci and Dovizioso, well, they needed no second invitation to lunge on through, but when all said and done, he has increased his World Championship lead by 4 points, heading to his home race in Barcelona, 12 clear now of Andrea Dovizioso. Can't wait to hear the thoughts of this man, Danilo Petrucci, victorious for the first time in his MotoGP career. And what a place to do it, in Italy, in Mugello, in Ducati's home race. He's with Simon.
Danilo Petrucci, proving that the nice guy of the paddock can also win.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. In the best place of the world. Yeah, I start to go on track, and it's unbelievable because in front of my fan in my hometown, it's unbelievable. It was a fantastic race. I cannot describe the feeling I have now because I haven't recognized that I have won, and now I think when I jump on the podium I will realize. But for sure I would like to thank my family, my friends, and all the people in Ducati, and also Andrea Dovizioso for helping me through the winter and this season. This win is for everyone that helped me. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely fantastic to see that man take his first victory. This is how close it was getting. That's the race-winning overtake. Marc Marquez actually got into the lead. Marquez thought he'd done it at this point. That was his strategy, to hit the front on the first lap. You could just see there, he just ran in a little bit hot. Small margins in MotoGP. Petrucci pounced, lifted up Dovizioso. He then tangled with Marc Marquez as well. And this is it, the drag to the line. This would have felt like the longest 500 metres of Danilo Petrucci's life. But finally, when he saw the checkered flag...
Look at Claudio Domenicali there. Just crumbles to the floor celebrating.
Well, you know, the Ducati management took some flack, didn't they, Steve, for bringing in Petrucci? But their decision fully vindicated. And this is the sweetest of sweet moments for Danilo Petrucci. What a moment. The adrenaline at that point, the elation at that point, the realisation that your lifelong dream, your lifelong goal and lifelong ambition has come to fruition. Pleasure to be here, not only just to witness it, but to commentate on it as well.
Here. Just a fantastic moment. So pleased for him and his fans and his family. Like he says, his home race. This is where it all began for him in Mugello. And the number 9 stands on top step here in Mugello.
Well, he said last year, or 2 years ago in 2017, when he stood on the podium in front of the mass ranks of Italian fans who gather underneath the famous podium celebrations here in Mugello, it was like a dream come true. Well, I think this dream tops that one, because he's on that podium, but he's not on the podium in second or third. He has won the race. He's won the Italian Grand Prix for Ducati. Going to be a heck of a party somewhere in Italy tonight. Yeah, well, like we said, Simon, he's such a likeable character, such a popular rider. I don't think you're the only person in the world that's going to have that lump in the throat. I think myself and Steve, it's been, like we said, a pleasure to actually talk and voice that one for Danilo Petrucci.
Another top 10 for Pol Espargaro and KTM, perhaps not quite what they were hoping for. They're a little bit further away from the front than they'd want to be, but hey, back-to-back top 10s in the dry, that is not a regular occurrence for KTM.
Yeah, and he came through to nab that 9th place away from from Fabio Quartararo, rather, whose race just never got going off the line. It's been hard work out there, hard work all weekend for these two men, Petrucci and Marquez, who've been under the weather. Daniele Romagnoli, I know Daniele pretty well. He's a pretty emotional character. He is going to milk the celebrations, and why not? Former crew chief to Cal Crutchlow, current crew chief to Danilo Petrucci. 300 up in terms of appearances for Andrea Dovizioso, and he marks that special milestone with a podium finish. Not the podium position he wanted, but nevertheless, it is still a top 3 for Andrea Dovizioso. Marc Marquez, yet again, he was the man that took the fight to the Ducatis. More than likely going to be a hostile reception. He will not care one bit for that. Marc Marquez extends his World Championship lead. He's still the man to beat. He knew that was coming. He'll brush it off and come again in Barcelona. But here he is, the man of the moment, the man in Mugello that has won for the first time in his MotoGP career. Take a bow, Danilo Petrucci. Unforgettable scenes for him, unforgettable scenes for Ducati. I think it's fair to say these images will be featuring fairly prominently in the Petrucci household. The mantelpiece will be cleared for the Race Winners' Trophy and a few podium celebration pictures after this one. The podium celebrations underway then. Carlos Malagariga, the Oakley business brand manager of the title sponsor, hands over the constructor prize to Daniele Romagnoli, crew chief to Danilo Petrucci. 3rd straight victory here then in Mugello for Ducati, their 48th win in the MotoGP World Championship, edging ever close to the half century. Giovanni Coppioli from the Italian Federation hands over a 3rd place trophy to Andrea Dovizioso. His 96th career podium, 55th in the MotoGP World Championship and his 300th appearance. Marc Marquez, though, will get the 2nd place trophy, the reigning world champion. He continues to rack up the podiums, doesn't he, Marc Marquez? That is now podium number 121, 82nd in the MotoGP World Championship. But if Mugello had a roof, it will about to be lifted and raised off. Wait for the noise, wait for the celebrations for Danilo Petrucci. Dario Nardella, the mayor of Florence, hands over the Race Winners' Trophy to Danilo Petrucci, the 28-year-old Italian. His 8th podium finish, his 1st ever MotoGP victory. The crowd go wild, Ducati go wild. Petrucci peerless in Mugello.
Well, what a moment. Fratelli d'Italia playing, and I don't think it's quite sunk in even now for Danilo Petrucci. The celebrations will go on long into the night, and he's getting a face full of Prosecco as well from both Dovizioso and Marc Marquez.
What's that about mixing alcohol with antibiotics? I don't think he's going to care too much about that one. Listen to the noise. We said he was a popular winner around the world. He's certainly a popular winner. I'm just looking at our commentary box position. It's unbelievable, the scenes of celebration going on here in Mugello.